The following podcast is a Dear Media production.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Real Stuff podcast. I feel so blessed that we were graced with the presence of Reza Khan on the podcast this week. Reza is a creator who, if you look at his Instagram, I think it's at the Reza Khan. He has grown a huge audience. He makes funny skits and sketches and boatloads of content about this one little niche time that he's in his life right now. I met Reza just a couple months ago when I went to Chicago for that speech at Google and YouTube. He was one of the other creators that was invited to be part of that creator day. And we sort of talk a little bit in this episode about our first meeting and the way we started working together. But what I just really want to share about this guy is that I've met a lot of content creators, and Reza is really, really talented. If you look at his content, you will see he really knows how to pick out those real life moments that are so relatable to people and then make engaging, relatable content about it. And working with him, I think I told him this in the episode, he is such a talented actor. A one-take wonder. He's funny. I will not be surprised if he becomes a TV star in the future and is like a real comedy actor. I also think it's fascinating the story that he has with his wife, because really the way their platform started was that his wife, Puja, was an aspiring influencer and an aspiring creator, and now he has taken over and she has stepped back. It's all extremely fascinating. I had so much fun talking to him. I hope you guys will follow him and start watching his content, because especially if you're a parent, you will find it relatable and hilarious. And let's just dive into today's chat with Reza Khan. Waiting for you to be like, in a world
where two parents jump on a podcast. I don't know. I have nothing else. I'm so happy to be here, by the way.
I'm beyond happy that you're here. Cannot believe we kind of just met, but also I feel like I've known you for 45 years. I'm not even 34. So how could I have known you for 45?
I know.
You don't meet a lot of people where there's an instant ability to not only shoot the shit, hang out and have fun, but also we got to give ourselves a little bit of credit on what we did in Chicago together. So I just want to tell people our little meet story. Is that okay?
Tell them. Let them know.
Reza and I were invited to speak at a creator day for Google and YouTube in Chicago. So we both flew into Chicago. The Google and YouTube team took us out for dinner at this delightful steakhouse the night before the event. And we met up probably about 7 p.m. for dinner at this restaurant. We sit there, we are eating dinner, talking, laughing, sharing all of our content tips, secrets, chatting with the Google and YouTube team. And probably in the last 10 minutes, right before most of the people left, we say, we should collaborate. We should make something together. Let's maybe see if we have a little bit of time before the event tomorrow to show up early to Google and shoot. And we start coming up with ideas on the spot. At this point, the rest of the team is saying, bye, good night, see you in the morning, and leaving.
Yeah. Which I'll at this point too, I was like, as we were kind of discussing ideas, I'm like, what are the chances we're actually going to land on something? And it's like this funny awkwardness where like you'll say an idea or I'll say an idea and it's like you want to be respectful. You're like, yeah, that's a good one. But what if we go this way instead?
And that is how it was working. We were both shooting out ideas and being like, oh, that's funny. Or we'd be like, wait, that makes me think of this other idea. And we were just iterating and riffing off each other until we came up with two ideas that we thought were funny. And we were sort of like, okay, you take this one, I'll take this one. Let's put them in a shared note. We'll start working on it now, and then we'll keep working on it tonight. And by the way, we shut down the restaurant. So we're sitting at this restaurant until the bright lights come on. The people are mopping the floors, and they're like, you two have got to go.
Yeah.
We go back to our respective hotel rooms, and we're like still texting all the way through midnight, sending scripts, thinking of ideas. And then we meet at Google bright and early. We have about an hour before the event. We head up to the rooftop. We bring Maggie from the Google team as our third videographer in tow. And boom, we create video content. And then we upload it on social media, and it's a delight and a hit.
And it was epic to work with you because, one, I rarely ever work with other creators. I'm either working with my wife, who's good to work with, or like my parents, who are just like, we take like 50 takes per shot. So to work with another creator who's just like cooking, like in 45 minutes to an hour, we like just filmed 2 videos, like easy.
Yep.
That was amazing.
And we knew what we needed. And you are, I want to pause this because for people who have not seen the video, I'm just going to play it right here.
Oh, by the way, my son started walking.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
How old is he now?
13 months.
Oh, so sweet. Love a late bloomer. Yeah, Clementine took her first steps at 7 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think by 13 months she was doing high knees.
Ah, she's advanced.
Very.
Oh, my son had his birthday party this weekend.
Oh, cute. Where?
The aquarium.
Oh, so simple. Yeah. Clementine's third was at NASA.
Oh, wow.
They even named a real star after her, and not one of those fake stars you buy online, like a NASA certified star. Yeah. It orbits just for her.
Sounds expensive.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, by the way, my son tried broccoli for the first time.
Oh, good. How did it go?
Well, it's actually really funny because when he
Oh my
tried
God,
it, it was...
you know, broccoli reminds me so much. When Clementine was 18 months, she created a hydroponic garden in our basement.
a hydro...
Don't worry, completely self-sustaining. She built it herself. She used to harvest the broccoli, blanch it, and then serve it to us with a balsamic reduction. Oh, she's so sweet.
She's the sweetest.
My memory of working with you was, I'm sure people can tell from going to your feed, just one quick glance at your feed, and this is not questionable, but you're a true actor. Like, you probably should be acting.
That's
And
really
you
sweet. I
were
appreciate that.
so natural. Every single take I did of you was one take wonder. It's a hit right away, and it's so real.
One, that means so much to me. And I don't know, it's like there's something weird about the creative world or social media. I think especially on social media, because like we're like doing all these videos. Nobody gave us the go ahead. We just gave it to ourselves. So a lot of times we're like doing making these videos, and it's just like, is it even good? We have no idea. And my wife's like, this is a good video. And I'm just like, are you just doing that because I'm your husband? My mom's like, you're so funny. I'm like, oh, I don't trust you. So like, when you say that, I really like hits me, and I really, really appreciate that.
Yeah.
And you are also so easy to work with. And I think your superpower is you're just such a good storyteller, and also have this natural funny. Like in that video, the details of like whatever, like what was it? The last line with like the biome, whatever, and like all this kind of stuff. Like
Yes.
it's so hard to actually think of like the script lines, and you did that so effortlessly. And even the comments, like people were just quoting all of your lines and just find it so funny and so like SNL-esque. And that's hard. And then I've also seen you in many other capacities on your social media page or in person, and the storytelling ability is just like chef's kiss.
Oh.
So I can't wait to continue to collaborate, because I think there's a lot of overlap and filling different gaps, and just more cool videos to come.
Same. I agree. And if only our voice notes to each other could be exposed to the world, like we would either be the most loved or the most hated people in the world, because the way we were voice noting each other after we made that video, being like, we are fucking awesome. We are so
God,
talented.
Did you see that? That was so much fun. Yeah, I can't wait to do it again.
Speaking of storytelling, you have an incredible story, and I got to hear it at Google, which was a very meta place to hear the story. And I'd love for you to tell.
That's funny. No pun intended.
I know, no pun intended. I actually use the word meta a lot when I'm talking about things that are happening on Instagram, which is very meta. As I was listening to your story, I was like, the world has got to hear this, because especially in 2025, when we have the boom of this creator world and people who are in all sorts of industries are getting a little taste of building a personal brand and are kind of contemplating, should I leave? Should I start my own thing? Should I stay in corporate? I just want you to tell your story to everyone and inspire away.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you thank you for having me. I feel like I didn't probably thank you. This is so epic, and I'm so happy to be here.
Welcome.
So it's interesting. So I used to just work a 9 to 5. I was at Google. I was in sales, and my wife was also in sales at LinkedIn. And we were just a corporate couple. We moved to New York fresh, ready to just ride up the corporate chain, the corporate ladder. And we set so many goals of like, I'm going to be a director one day. I used to like have this one goal of like, one day I'm going to have an all hands meeting that's going to have my name on it. Meaning like my whole department will have a meeting on the calendar that says all hands Reza Khan, and they all come and just watch me talk. And it was like, I had all these dreams and never had any of these creative dreams. But my wife always did. She always wanted to be an influencer and just like taking random videos of me or the food she was making and posting it for like her 500 followers. And then COVID came, we got married, and she decided to, we had a big fat Indian wedding. It was like, we had a groom's dance, a bride's dance, a siblings dance, the parents dance. There were so many dances. My wife decided to post it on TikTok. I didn't even know she did. And then one day I'm like on my phone and I get these notifications from my friends sending me my first dance that showed up on some meme page in the UK. And honestly, the meme page was kind of like making fun of the dance, to be honest. But we were just like, what? I was confused. I'm like, what is, why? How do they have this? We got the dance 2 days ago. And then I find out my wife posted it on TikTok. It had like a couple 100,000 views. And for us, we had never gotten, I mean, she had never gotten anything like that. And I was just watching, like, almost like seeing the opportunity of what could be. I'm like, wait a second, maybe this could be something. It was like the spark that I feel like we needed. We posted more of the wedding content, got some thousands of followers. And then I'm like, what happens? We actually saw a video after that happened. We got the thousands of followers and we saw a video from, do you know the Scott family?
I don't think so.
So they had posted a video after we had Puja posted these dances and stuff. And it was a video of them like a year before they started making content. And they were like in a really low place. And they were like, it was Talia saying like, you know, like we had some struggles. We had to move into my dad's house or something. And I just feel like this next year is going to be good for us. Like just hoping. And then like now you see them, they have like millions of followers and everything. So for us, when we're in the beginning of our stage, I'm like, that could be us. So we decided to make one video a day. January 16, it was a Saturday, 2021. Make one video a day and see what happens across the whole year. And in the beginning, we sucked. It was so bad. Like, I'm not even kidding. The first day we try to film 4 videos on a Saturday because we're like, on the weekdays we're busy, but on Saturdays we'll film these batch filming days. Puja cried. I like got injured a little bit because we were trying to do this trend. And it was like all this energy and excitement that was just like, we'd like film it. We look at the video. We're like, what are you, look happier. It's just like, it was such a mess. But then, yeah, then you like have that one viral video and you're like, oh, okay, I'm connecting some dots. Then you do it again and again and again. And then it just continued to evolve and evolve. And eventually you kind of find that financial opportunity. We ended up moving back home with my parents. We started doing videos with the in-laws, got pregnant. And then we started doing like videos with my pregnant wife and videos with the newborn, and just constantly kept evolving. And now somewhere along the way, we ended up in Los Angeles with 2 children. And we've been doing this content thing now for like almost 4 years.
Wow.
It's been nuts.
You know what's my favorite thing is when I find a product that I love and that I feel really passionately about, and then I hear other experts talking about how that's a great product and sort of validating all of my thoughts. And this just happened to me recently with ClearStem. So I started trying 2 products from ClearStem that I've just completely fallen in love with. Firstly, their gentle, clean, hydrating barrier cleanser. It's a face wash. And then their skin spray all day hydration and clearing mist. The cleanser just smells so amazing. Gets all foamy, gives me that deep throw clean without stripping my skin. I have very sensitive skin and it doesn't leave my skin feeling tight and dry. And then the mist I just use constantly. I spray it on after I wash my face before makeup to hydrate. I put it on after makeup as a setting spray. If it's the middle of the day and I just feel dry, especially in the winter, I will spritz it for a quick refresh. It's really the combination of these 2 products that makes my skin feel like I just left a spa. It's like that fresh, cold, tingly, clean feeling that clearly my pores were just cleaned deep down. And since adding this into my routine, not only has my skin felt smoother and clearer and just happier, but I have now continued to hear other experts on skincare talk about how amazing this brand is. And honestly, one of the biggest reasons that I trust them is their approach and how much science and data is behind this brand. Their entire skincare wellness routine is formulated with 0 pore clogging ingredients, and that is their clear pore promise. And their products are clinically backed in third-party trials. People saw improvements in breakouts within just 4 weeks, with even more progress after 12 weeks. They are truly dedicated to both safety and efficacy, which is rare in skincare. Go discover the ClearStem difference because clear skin changes everything. Go to clearstem.com/realstuff and use code one word REALSTUFF at checkout for 15% off your first order. That's CLEARSTEM.com/realstuff and code REALSTUFF for 15% off. You guys really have evolved as people, and your content has followed suit and evolved with you. And so now you're in this, I would say someone goes to your page now, it's pretty much all parenting content, and actually more specifically toddler parenting content right now.
Yeah.
And I know at the dinner you talked about your advice for someone, if you felt like someone was just starting, how can they grow in 2025? What should they do? You were landing on picking a hyper specific niche, like not just parenting, but toddler parenting content for dads, like that type of a niche, and really leaning into it, going hard. I'm curious how you feel that is going to change or not change as your second becomes older, or is it because you're planning on having a gang of kids? This is probably going to be your life for the next 10 years.
I know. I'm going to be doing toddler content for the next 15 years. Always having a toddler at all times.
Tell everyone how many kids you want.
35. Realistically, I think honestly, we want at least 3, but like I'm like, let's aim for 5 and then accidentally stumble upon 6. Also, preface to say like God's plan is always what ends up happening. We like try to plan life so often, and it's just like the things we say we're never gonna do, we're like, okay, we're doing. You just never know. We honestly might only have 2. Who knows? But if it was up to me, yeah, 5 or 6.
And so you feel like for the foreseeable future, you'll be sticking to this particular niche within this niche.
Yeah, I think realistically, when it comes to content, as a creator, I like to make content based on what I'm living and what I'm thinking about constantly. So right now, like my second child, he's 6 months old, and to be honest, maybe for the parents that have 2 kids, a lot of times what happens is the toddler ends up kind of just falling into dad, and dads kind of take on majority of toddler, and then mom really takes on the baby. Like whenever there's free time and you pick one kid, usually mom will take the baby, dad's with the toddler. So I'm like deep into my toddler's terrible do's. Now he's a 3-nager, and I'm just like struggling. So for me, it's like I'm living it, and then I'm always thinking about it. Like once he goes to bed, I'm just like talking to my wife. I'm like, yeah, I feel like he needs more of this, or he needs some more structure, or like we just can't give him like the lollipop when he asks for it. Like we're just always like in the nitty gritty, like thinking about all of these like things that I like to call like in the wormhole of stuff. So because I'm like living that, and I'm like so deep in the wormhole, that's the kind of content that when I make, it's going to just feel so correct and accurate, and it's going to really hit, because I imagine for a lot of my audience, it's a lot of stay-at-home moms who are just deep in the world with their toddlers. So when I talk about, what I eat in a day as a dad, and it's pretty much like donuts with no icing and sprinkles and bread crust, they're like, "Oh, this is my life so hard," and you're just hitting it. So yes, being able to go so deep, and when a toddler parent sees my page, they're just like, oh my gosh, you are just seeing me so hard right now. It just has such a strong connection. And I feel like right now it's amazing because I'm living this reality, and then also being able to like connect and share the raw and realness with my followers. It's built such an amazing community. Everybody just gets it. And then when I meet some people at the farmer's market who like sees me from my videos, they're like, oh my gosh, you just make us feel so much like better about ourselves, because like I know I'm like, oh,
because your life seems like it sucks.
Yeah, that looks terrible. No, but it's like sometimes, like for example, half the time my toddler like wants me to feed him with my hand, and sometimes I'll post a story of me just like feeding him. I don't think anything of it, and they're like, oh my God, I feel so much better because like I feed my son sometimes with my hand, and I always feel like, oh, like am I like the only one doing this? And it's like, no, I am too.
I also think on your page, the thing that really makes it next level as far as content goes, which is really where the audience clicks and connects, is, as you said, you're going so deep on this one topic that it's not like your page is just toddler content, where if you were to ask ChatGPT, give me a list of 20 things that are like toddler related, potty training, sleep, whatever, all that stuff. It's not that stuff. It's like the layers beyond that. And one example I want to give is it's like these little nuanced moments in day-to-day life that only a parent of a toddler would be like, that is happening to me right in this very moment. One of your videos was something not to do when your toddler's finally eating, and Any toddler parent will know, once your toddler is actually eating their plate, do not make eye contact with them and look at them, because the second they see you looking at them, they will stop doing what you want them to do.
Yeah, exactly.
And like, that's the type of moment that you have to be current parent. You have to have, like, if I'm sure plenty of past parents who are way past the toddler phase went through that, but it's not the type of thing you necessarily remember unless it's like called out to you, put right in front of you. And what you're doing is you're going through your days and you're having these internal moments, being in the weeds of toddlerhood, that you're jotting down, I assume, like, oh, this is going to make a great piece of content because this is something I'm thinking of. So I can guarantee you there are millions of other people feeling like this or going through this. And then you put it on full blast, and people are I think one of the best comments to get is like, how did you get into my kitchen? Or you are in my head right now. And it's like, that's what you're inadvertently doing, is pulling these subtle thoughts that make us all humans and make us all going through this universal experience. We can see that on full display.
Yeah. I think everybody, in whatever capacity of life they're living in, they're deep into something, whether it be like they're deep as a spouse or deep into being a business owner. I'm deep into being a parent of two and a toddler parent. And there's just so many nuances that come with that. And just knowing that there's millions of other people that are like in your specific realm of life, just starting to be able to like analyzing my life and all these crazy nuances and just telling these stories. And I choose a comedic way, and someone might choose a different way, but really that's all it's boiling down to. And then it'll be interesting one day, like for example, my parents, they're their own content creators, because they used to be part of our videos, and then we moved out, and my mom and dad's like, what are we going to do? I'm like, I'm going to help you make your own content. They were living life as empty nesters, like romance and marriage after 30 plus years of marriage. What does that look like? And then they started like making those videos of those different like wormhole moments and building that audience.
Worth noting, your parents have received a YouTube plaque.
I know, it's insane. I'm like so proud of them. They have over 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. It's crazy. But yeah, so they kind of wormhole on their stuff of like those different like life after kids. And it's like the peace and the quiet. And sometimes I'm like watching, I'm like, that looks pretty good. I ain't gonna lie.
I can't help but think about your origin story with taking this risk and deciding to post every day. And as you said, you get these little tastes of viral moments, and that kind of keeps you going and fuels you to want to keep aspiring. But in this day and age, there are so many aspiring content creators and so many people out there who have actually been posting extremely consistently across social media every single day for maybe even a decade, and have not really made a dent in their community. Maybe they still are, under 10,000 followers, or have not found a way to expand as a creator or monetize in any way. I feel in this industry, it's kind of a balance between the consistency and the showing up, and there's like some steps that you have to do if you want to have any shot at succeeding. But then the thing we can't really define is like, do you have it? Like, do you have something about you that is going to help you succeed? From your standpoint, do you agree with that, A? And B, if you guys were posting consistently and you were not seeing any traffic and you never had a viral moment and you never blew up, how long would you have stuck at that for before you gave up?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think to your first question, especially now with the way the algorithm can connect people and help you find your audience, can somebody just start posting their truth and learning to iterate and continuously like getting better at making content, get 50,000 followers, be able to get to a place where like they become a thought leader, no matter how specific of a niche they are, get some type of community that they can at least have for their own like enjoyment, potentially use as like a financial side hustle, whatever it is. Like, yes, anybody can cross that line. Can anybody get to like 3, 4, 5 million followers or whatever the number ends up being? No, I mean, I think there's like certain like limits to things, and you do have to have some kind of it factor. I think you have to be a little bit crazy, actually. You have to have a little bit of like a craziness to you. But I think anybody can do it, and it can enhance their life, whether it be by just building community or some type of financial side hustle of some kind. And it's just good. We live in a world where we consume constantly, and there's not many moments where we're actually expressing and creating. Yeah, I'm a big proponent that anybody should try and create something that's based on their truth.
So back to the question of how long you maybe would have given it if you weren't seeing any virality. Do you know the answer to that?
Yeah. I feel like it took us 2 weeks before we saw the first like video that was like, oh, that got like over 1 million views.
That's very fast, Reza.
Yeah, no, I know. It really was.
2
We got
weeks.
lucky.
I mean, there are people out there who are like, I've been consistent on YouTube and Instagram since 2017, and
I know.
I haven't seen anything. So that just to me is, I keep going back to this it factor, which is such a strange thing to say, because what I mean by it is a little bit of there just being something that draws people to you so that all the work you're doing actually gets, attracts people. But I also think there's so many factors that go into if someone's going to be successful on social media. And a lot of it is this extremely undefined, inexplicable science and art behind the exact cultural moment that they're uploading something, and like the exact tone that they're using with it, and sometimes the exact time of day they're hitting post, and the places that they're commenting and getting discovered, and if an article picks them up and blasts them. And there's sometimes ways that it's not a science. You can't say if you upload at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time and you do this exact formula that ChatGPT spit out for you, a content plan and a schedule, and you got to post it and follow it, and you will reach 1 million followers by the end of the year. It's just not necessarily going to work.
100.
There's so many layers to it, and it's hard to even explain it. But to see it after 2 weeks is
I know.
a testament to you two.
I feel like if it was, it was really my wife's like persistence, because she had been posting, I think, on her Instagram and started at TikTok for like, I'd say about like a year and a half. And at the year and a half point was once like we started making videos together, then it was that 2 week point. But she had been pushing along, trudging along. And for her, she had these influencer dreams. And as her husband watching on the side, I was like, seems like her hobby, but like I didn't see where or how she could ever grow all of a sudden or kind of make it happen. I think if it continued to not after like that first month, to be honest, because we already had too much stuff going on with our own jobs, I don't see us continuing to like beat on this drum, because I'm also a big believer that you can't force something in life. You can't just be like, if all of a sudden, say someone's like working a regular job and they have no inklings of being a storyteller or like creating something or making videos, they're just like kind of working a job and they're like, oh, I just saw this like podcast of these two people talking about like how you can just like strike big and make money being a content creator. I'm gonna do it. Like trying to just force a situation is rarely ever works. I always feel like the things that actually end up being great are the ones that just naturally reveal itself to you. So like had our wedding videos not gone viral and like been that first spark, then I couldn't see a world where I'm like, I saw this thing, like let's try to make content and beep, and trying to just force it to happen. Then it will happen. But because that happened, that naturally like opened up this door for us to be like, let's like buy some equipment, think about this and invest some time. It wasn't like out of the blue. It kind of like came into our view and we're like, okay, let's start going in this direction and iterating and researching and trying different things and trying to figure it out and problem solve the way that we do all other parts of our life. And the goal wasn't to be like this whole thing and be big. It was just like, you know what, if I can just get to a point where I can cover a car payment, that's epic. If we can make like a couple $100 a month off this thing, like that's amazing. And we were just looking at the TikTok creator bonus, and some days you get like $10, some days like $3, some days like 50 cents, some days 1 cent. That was it. It was just like this little goal, little snowball that once again, we would have never considered had it not the dance went viral, things like that. But then it's like, you're like, okay, I just want to do that. And then you start making $300 a month and you're just like, yeah, like covering my car payment, my little 2019 Hyundai Elantra, covering it. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, maybe we'll cover the rent this month. And then like, you kind of just keep snowballing, and say it didn't work out. Say nothing happened. We kept making a few cents. That's it, done. Then most likely we would have wrapped that up, closed it. And then our minds would have been open to see something else that maybe would have come into our lives. Maybe it would have been like a new business idea. Maybe it would have been just like doubling down on work or like trying something else. Like I'm a big proponent of just like pausing, looking around, like what's the low hanging fruit right now in your life. And for some people, a content creator is like, that's my low hanging fruit. Like I'm here, I have like, there's a moment, like I feel really passionate about it. And for us, it was because we had like this little viral buzz. But then if it died out, then we'd like move on to something else. And I feel like we just saw our opportunity, we took it, and thank God it panned out to something great.
My favorite thing to do when people come to my house to see my babies is to give them a demo of the Magnetic Me pajamas. There's something about this brand. It's just so innovative. People from past generations see this and they are so blown away that this was not a thing when they were younger and when they had kids to change and take care of. The magnetic closures are a complete game changer when you are doing a million outfit changes a day, particularly for babies, but also their clothes for toddlers are so useful because the magnets make it easier when they are learning to dress themselves. Their clothes are honestly so cute, but truthfully, anything that buys me more time or makes changing a baby less of a hassle so that I can have more time for moments that really matter, that's a win. I already know that my friends and family who have little ones are going to love these products as much as I do, and I'm personally gifting Magnetic Me to all of them this holiday season. This is why I continue to recommend this brand across my social media. On those mornings when we are just rushing to get out the door, we're getting Coco dressed, it takes seconds to change her. And when we're out at the park or grabbing lunch or any midday change we're doing, it's so fast. Even the daytime clothes that they wear have these magnetic closures. Jackets, Sherpa jackets, hats, everything is magnetic. I get so many compliments on the kids' outfits. The prints are so adorable. And the matching family pajamas are truly the softest things ever. I never want to take mine off. Trust me, you need Magnetic Me to make changing time easier for you and your little one. And if you're a parent or if you're shopping for one for the holidays, go to magneticme.com. They're offering 15% off to new customers, and they even have the cutest gift boxes and everything from baby to toddler sizes. So it's really the perfect gift for everyone. Don't wait. Go to magneticme.com right now. Can we go into money a little bit?
Sure.
However, to whatever degree you're comfortable.
Yeah.
I know you did share a little bit at our Google dinner about some of the earliest brand deals that came, and we were all sort of, you, me, and the other two creators, Destiny and Brandon, were talking about, our first $100 deals that came in from brands. And in the life cycle of a creator, you hit these milestones where it's like you get your first deal and you think it's amazing, and then you realize that's not okay. I can never do a project for that rate again. And then you start getting, I don't know, we talked about like the cycle of getting gifted product, and then when it hits the threshold of like, okay, I can't be doing anything in exchange for products anymore. This needs to be a paid partnership. Anyone that's been in the creator pipeline has had their own journey, but specifically you coming from a corporate job at Google, where I'm assuming it was a great paying job at a great tech company. What was that pathway like for you from a corporate salary to like when you hit, what was the threshold where you were like, I can actually leave this job because I'll be able to make the same amount or more?
Yeah. It was such a funny time because we had moved back in with my parents because of COVID. We still had our apartment in Jersey City, New Jersey, that we were paying like, I think it was like $3,000 a month or something. But we moved back because we're like, okay, we're going to be locked down. Might as well be with family. We were working. We started making content. We had not seen any financial gain. It was more just follower growth. And then we got that first $50 brand deal with a South Asian dating app called Mirchi, which means spicy. It took us a whole day to film. The dollars per hour based on the filming and editing might have been like $3 an hour for that brand deal.
Wow.
Because we were like going all in. And then you kind of start getting some opportunities with like the TikTok creator fund. You get a little bit YouTube ad revenue. And then you start getting some $100 brand deal. And then like Mirchi came back around for $350 this time. We're like, okay, we got a little bigger, got a little more rate. But we honestly did not know how to like, at this time it was all side hustle money. Puja ends up getting a new role at LinkedIn. Okay. This is like February 2021, maybe April 2021. I can't remember exactly. She got a new role. She got a pay bump. So we're two solid corporate salaries. The creator stuff is just like maybe $300 a month. And then because we were at home and like eventually our New York lease had wrapped up and we were just at home and we started like seeing some like buzz to grow the account, and Puja started this new role. And it was like super hard for her. She was like struggling, I guess, like the skill sets and the way it worked. She was just like, she'd be working till like 9 p.m. and was just stressed the whole way through. And she's like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. I remember we went to a dinner and we're like, okay, why don't you, let's chat about like our options. Maybe you'll kind of go to a different team or go back to your old team, whatever it was. And then we were just like, what if you quit? And like, what if you dedicate more time to the social media? I make enough, or like, I'll hold this down. We're living with my parents. Like, maybe this is an opportunity for you to just like leave and have more time to brainstorm, edit, et cetera, and we'll do that. So she quit. And that was like a 6-figure salary taken off of our income that was replaced with a $300 a month income, which was amazing. But we were living with my parents. It was okay. And I was able to hold this down. And then we were able to continually grow. And my goal, okay, I'm on baby watch right here, but I can talk. I want to show you guys real quick.
Hi, baby. So cute.
Puja and Ryan are going on a photo shoot. So then it was like I was making like just over 100. It was like 100 and like maybe 20, give or take some bonus, whatever it was.
This is your
like
Google salary?
Yeah. It depends. Like sometimes like it'd be more if it was a good bonus year, whatever. But like before, me and Puja were both making around the same. So about like it was like 120. So about 20K a month, whatever. And I'm like, okay, like one day we're gonna grow this thing. And the beauty of it was you see the exponential factor of it, where it goes, you're making $300 a month, and you're like, oh my gosh, we just had $3,000 a month. Like that's incredible. We had this like one lucky brand deal, boom, 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 and you average it out. You're like, we're making like $2,000 a month now. I'm like, we just 10x'd in like a month and a half. So you kind of see that ability to grow. And I'm like, if we can get to a place where we can make $20,000 a month consistently, that'll just fully replace our 2 corporate jobs that we had. And I'm like, I would much rather be doing this. It's so much fun. I get to be with you. It's much more flexible hours. I get to be at home. Then I remember we got contacted by some management companies. They're like, we want to manage you. And I'm like, I've seen the movies, buddy. You're not going to manage me and just rob me of my money. I know how these contracts go. I remember we got in a call with one, and I told Puja, I'm like, before we answer this call, I just want to let you know, we're not doing this. And then we get in the call, and they took 33% of every penny we made. And I was like, that's horrendous. But then I asked them, I'm like, look, can you make me 20K a month? Because if you can do that, that means I can leave my corporate job and I can do this with Puja. And they're like, yeah, I think we can do it. Like, blah, 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 whatever. And I'm just like, that's a bunch of BS. I was chatting with my mom and Puja, and I'm like, they take 33%. But like, I don't know, like maybe we just try it, a little free trial period. And then like, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, then like, whatever, we leave. It could be our unlock. I don't know. We ended up signing with them, which I'm like, why'd I do that? But we ended up signing with them. And on day one, we had closed like $20,000.
Wow.
In brand deals, which I was like, I think they got lucky, to be honest, because we were also going viral at the time. And I'm like, I think you probably just saw some opportunities come through and maybe we would have gotten it ourselves. I don't know. And that was all of a sudden, I was like, wow, like that just happened. Mind you, the rest of the month was not 20K a day, but it was just like all of a sudden, like that last 3 months, we saw that 20K a month and we're like, oh, this is interesting. And then in January, we saw it again in different forms, give or take. And that's when I'm like, you know what? Like we've been continuously growing. The more we make videos, the more we do better. We're telling amazing stories. At the time, it was about like living with my parents and Puja living with her in-laws. And like we were growing. So I'm like, you know what? This is a bet I'm going to make on myself. Right now, I've hit the financial threshold. Who's to say it's going to be consistent moving forward? I don't know. Am I throwing away my Google job and the stability? Maybe. But I'm betting on myself that I think that, you know, over the next 6 months, like we're going to continue to grow and we're going to maybe make even more potentially. And I ended up putting my 2 weeks in. And I remember I told my dad after my meeting with my manager at Google, I'm like, oh, by the way, Papa, like I put my 2 weeks in. He was like, oh, he like almost had like, he had like heart pain. He's like, why did you do that? I was like, we're ready. Like, I'm telling you, like, we can do some really cool stuff here. And he's just like, oh my God, like, why? And at the time, mind you, Pooja's pregnant. Pooja's pregnant with our first child. We're about to close on our first house. We're moving out. So literally, it's like, I'm about to have a mortgage, bigger mortgage than ever before. I'm about to have a child. I'm losing my health insurance. Like, this is a dumb decision, to be honest. But we did it. We did it anyway. We ended up betting on ourselves. It ebbs and flows. Ever since then, it's ebbed and flowed in different ways. But thank God it's continued to be great and fund our lives.
And are you still with that management company?
No, we're not.
No.
Because that's an interesting story. We literally had a whole like legal battle with them. They had these like achievement clauses, like, oh, if we end up making you, 250,000 across a year, which was 20K a month, whatever, then like maybe it was like that. And then like being able to get like 50K or something like that in one brand deal. I can't remember. Growing your platforms by X amount % of followers, which I'm like, that's not even has anything to do with you.
Right. It's not like you're
But we ended up doing
shooting.
at the time when I saw the contract, I'm like, sure. I'm like, if you do that, I'll sign with you for the rest of my life. And then a year and a half goes by and we do all the things. And all of a sudden we're like, yeah, we're actually thinking about leaving. They're like, you can't, because we achieved all these achievement clauses and you're with us for the next 2 years. And I'm like, well, I don't want to be. And they're like, well, based on how much you make us per year, you have to pay us this much to leave the contract. And it was like, I don't know, it was like 100K or something like that. I can't remember. And then it will also activate the sunset clause where for the next 3 years, we're giving them like 10 to 15% of every brand deal we make. It was scary. It was like horrendous.
I just had a conversation on this podcast with my manager. I did an episode of my sub series where I call people on the phone, and I called her to have an open conversation with her about the industry and working with clients. And in a question I asked her about what would she say to someone who's looking for a manager, she started talking about these small management companies that in a lot of ways are preying on small up and coming creators.
Mm-hmm.
And they find these people who, like you said, can't even imagine a year where they're bringing in 250K or where they hit 1 million followers or whatever comes true. And they have that exact mindset you just said of like, I will be with you forever if you could do that for me, because they just haven't had a taste of what this could be. And then what do you know? They put in all the work. The creator puts in all the work to make all the content, and the manager is obviously doing a good job at getting brand deals. But like, as we all know, management companies or agents are not really boots on the ground building your platforms for you. They're just making you money. Mm-hmm. And then these small creators wind up in these insane contracts that they can't get out of. And, we talked a little bit about my deal at Underscore, which is, I didn't even know the technicalities of it, but I knew it was something like this, which is that my contract renews with them every 30 days. And if I want to leave, I just give them 30 days notice and then I'm out. And by the way, they take 15%. We're not at 33. So crazy. I understand some of these smaller businesses maybe need to take a higher percent to stay in business, or, they want to lock in as much of a contract as they can because they're really relying on finding 1 or 2 Rezas and like living off of them for the rest of their existence as a company, frankly.
I know. That's exactly what happened. And then we literally we found another one that we're with now, which is Currents, and they're amazing. And as I was trying to depart from them, they were just bringing in these lawyers, and then we had to get a lawyer. We paid it's funny. When I look back on it, what it ended up being was after all of this, it was maybe 4 months of just back and forth, these legal letters back from our team to their team, our team to their team. They ended up actually withholding a lot of our money that we had already made that they were just due to send us. It was $100,000 that they had just were holding for 5 months while it was all happening. And at the time also, I remember we kind of had a really small quarter. So we kind of hit a little drought moment. And I was like, well, we actually have all this money coming through. And also our new management company, they're just kind of getting off the ground and figuring things out. And then I was looking at our bank account, just drop. And I'm like, wait, are we not getting paid? And I look, and the last time they paid us was before the legal battle started. And I'm like, oh my God, they're literally withholding our money until this thing gets resolved. We just were refusing all these crazy terms. And then eventually the CEO, he sends an email that was a lot of capital letters and just very aggressive. Listen, if you want, we will personally litigate you, and then we'll personally litigate Puja, your wife, and we'll take you to court and we'll ram you down with legal fees and all this kind of stuff. And my lawyers were like, one, they're going to lose if they do that based on XYZ. I don't remember. And she's also there's nothing says you can't talk about this online. So if you want, you could truly just really give them a bad name and stuff. And I was like, oh, this is all just too much. And I was at that point, I was like, his last ultimatum was I can do all this stuff or clean break, no sunset clause where we take 10% of your deals for the next 3 years, nothing, $50,000 cash, and you guys are gone. And at that point, I was like, my lawyers were like, okay, so what are we gonna send back? And I'm like, I'm honestly fine. Let's just accept it. I just want to move forward. I just want to be done. We ended up accepting it. They finally sent us our money. Over the next like year and a half, we finally got that. It was like this slow trickle for some odd reason to get that 100,000 that we made, which mind you, they just cut $50K off of it. So we had 50K come. And it was funny. It was like this really like bad ending, this like tough situation. But when I actually look back on it, me and Puja are actually so grateful because despite the fact that we probably overpaid on like the 33%, and we had this 50,000 plus like 27,000 in legal fees that we had to pay, it was still the management company that helped me go from working at Google to really being a full-time content creator, solidifying my life in this world. For that, I'm grateful. Like I'm still net positive and I'm happy.
Congratulations. Honestly, fuck them.
Yeah.
They're just like all that for 50K. Are you kidding me? Like, I'm a small business owner, soon to be dad, trying to make a living here. And I have a similar but different area of my business where something similar happened that we can discuss offline. And it's just fucked up. Like, what is with these people? And it really shows. It's easy for us, especially you with your platform size, but even me, we look at ourselves and we feel like, I mean, I'm speaking for you. I feel for myself that I'm just this little creator floating in the abyss. And why do all these mean sharks have to be chomping into me and trying to take a piece of me and what I'm doing? As I've learned, or as I've heard from these companies that are doing so, which I guess is a good thing, but they don't see me as this little creator floating in the abyss. They see cha-ching, boom, like want to be attached, want to leech on. And really for these small up and coming creators is where it's the most alarming, because people without the wherewithal that you and Puja had, and without currents and wherever you were headed to back you and getting you untangled from this, you could just have lost hundreds of thousands of dollars of your life to this one business.
Oh my gosh, truly. And we were even like rationalizing some of these things. We're just like literally a couple. We're this little individual. They see us as a brand that brings in X amount of dollars. But I'm just like, okay, maybe we do just like pay them this. And then like, fine, the next 2 years we'll be paying them like 10 to 15, like the first year was like 15%, then 10%, whatever. And I'm like, maybe we just do that and like, we'll just figure it out. That would have been terrible. I'm so glad we did not do that. And we just found a different solution. But like, yeah, like we're these like naive couple who are just new to this whole world. And we're like, I'm not trying to like do anything crazy or rub anyone the wrong way or like take on this shark to court. I'm like, that just sounds scary. Like maybe I have 150,000 legal fees and you lose, and then you're in all sorts of terrible stuff. So I was just like a lot of fear, just trying to get out. Yeah. It's annoying because when you think about the whole process of like a creator, a management company, brands that you work with, all this kind of stuff, all these people exist purely because of your creativity and the fact that you're creating art and magic and connecting people and like engaging with all these different people, which is such a beautiful thing. It's such like a beautiful human thing. And then you have these management companies like, all right, like how can we monetize this? And like, okay, you have to stay in the contract for this many days. And the brands are like, okay, we want you to say this and do this and put this brand right there. And it's like, chill. It's kind of like gross, to be honest. And it's also how our world works. And you have to just kind of meander around the gross to keep your beauty and the innocence of it all.
You know when something just feels a little bit off in your gut and then that feeling kind of follows you around all day? I've definitely had those moments, especially after eating or just trying to digest stuff and I'm traveling. My regular routine gets thrown off. This is all what actually led me to try Seed for the first time. A close friend told me she swore by their DS-01 daily synbiotic, and then once I finally tried it, I totally got the hype. DS-01 is Seed's daily synbiotic, which is a combination of prebiotics and probiotics, and it's formulated with 24 clinically and scientifically studied strains to support whole body benefits. In just 2 little green capsules a day, it supports gut health, healthy digestion, skin health, heart health, immune function, healthy gut barrier integrity, gut microbial balance, and even micronutrient synthesis. It's also formulated with strains that are scientifically validated to support bloat and to alleviate that occasional intermittent constipation after 2 weeks. Plus, strains that support clearer, healthier looking skin in as little as 12 weeks. And their members really, really love it. 92% of people recommend DSO1 to a friend or family member after they use it. Personally, I've noticed an impact on how I feel pretty much day to day with it. I just feel more comfortable. I feel more aligned with my routines. My gut feels better, and it's super easy to incorporate. It just fits into my morning routine, habit stacking, taking my other vitamins. But honestly, just knowing that I'm doing something like this to support my gut health makes me feel so much better in my body. If you're thinking about your wellness goals for the new year, this is such a great time to start something that will actually support your body from the inside out with so much research behind it. So get ahead of the new year with a routine that helps you right now by going to seed.com/realstuff and using the code, one word, realstuff to get 20% off your first month. That's 20% off your first month of Seed's DSO1 Daily Synbiotic at seed.com/realstuff, code realstuff. So to whatever extent you're comfortable financially today, how's the business doing? And maybe if you don't want to give a number in comparison to years past, where are you?
Yeah, I mean, thank God we're in a comfortable place. It's interesting, like I'd say like in the second year after being with the management company, we were able to double where we were trying to be at. And that was when we had our first son. So that was actually the year 2022 or 2022 into 2023. And we were kind of like in that range, like in the fours kind of range. And then once we became parents, that honestly like derailed all of our momentum as creators. The buzz was still happening. We were still growing, but man, to try and be like parents and create, because we just pretty much like, we're like, oh, we have flexible lives. Like we can just take care of our kid like through and through. Like I'll take half the day, you take half the day. We'll film during the naps. We'll film during post bedtime, and we'll just do that. And I remember we started making so much less content, but luckily we were able to continue to make the same amount while working a lot less. So in a way, we made more per hour or more per video that we made, but we kind of made the same. And honestly, for the last like handful of years, like we've been kind of like coasting around that same mark, because honestly, our lives got so consumed by parenthood. And there were these moments once like our first son turned like 1.5, closer to 2, we found these openings of like, where I'm like, you know what? Like I feel this need, maybe it's like the go-getter, the competitor in me to just like, we have to go. Like we have to start like really like taking ownership of this business. And like, I want to take it to the next level. Like I want to get to new heights. We have like these big dreams to retire our parents and bring them into our fold and whatnot. So there were some moments where we had some upticks. We saw some increases in like our overall like take home, but it was always floating around like that 4-ish, 5-ish range. And once I took charge for a little bit, that was starting to help. And then all of a sudden, like life as a parent is chaotic. All of a sudden, like my son has like has to go to like the urgent care because he has a sore throat or something like that. And like that little one event can derail you for the next week. Because all of a sudden you're just like, I can't really think about content, and I have to make content with you, and like you're occupied. So like we have no content coming out. So it's tough. Like we're definitely not those parent creators that are just like, okay, like call the nanny, call like your mom. Like we got to make videos. Like, no, like we're just like so parent first. And it really, like, I remember we were ahead in terms of like follower growth of like so many peers of ours. And from like 2022 to 2020 to now, we saw so many peers that used to be like smaller than us soar past us because we really devoted ourselves to parenthood. And then it really wasn't until this past winter last year, it was pretty much right around this time last year, when I was like, what if I kind of just make these dad content and it's just like me? And at this point, like we were about to have our second kid, and I'm like, I just feel like it's impossible for us to find the time when we're both available. So let me just try to make this dad content stuff. And I remember I was like trying to do it. It was very awkward. All of our followers were so primed to only see Reza and Puja together. And it was like a known fact. If Puja's in the video with me, it does so much better. The retention from the very beginning, it's like 80% stay on for the first like 4 seconds. And then with me in it, it's like 30% right away. They're like, oh, it's just him. Never mind. Cancel. we don't like these videos.
Where's Puja?
Yeah. And then I was like, we were also trying to also fizzle out my firstborn from the content because he was like in a fun way, cute way in the content. And I was like, what if I play him? And it was also so very disheartening. This is like a long answer to your question, but I feel like this is interesting stuff. So I'm going to keep going. We're trying to fizzle him out. And I'm like, let me put a firefighter hat on and let me be him. And I'll play the toddler in my content. That was such a risk and felt so scary because the first time I did it, it actually went really well. The first video, it was a really good video of talking about like POV, you're trying to feed your toddler. And it was like this thing, it was very dramatic. I used like the music from Interstellar. It was really funny. It went viral and people thought it was really funny. And I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then the next 3, obviously, when you do one good thing, you want to replicate it. It never replicates. It just doesn't for some odd reason. In the next 3, the comments are just filled with like, where's Cher? Where's your son? Like, we like your son in the content. Like, nobody asked for this. And I'm just like, ooh, there's no worse feeling than like trying and people see like, oh, you're trying and it's not working.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, you're trying.
And it hurt because I felt this like pressure where I'm like, thankfully we were making good money, but it was like, it wasn't growing. It was staying the same. And I'm like, I also feel like social media is changing a bunch and what we typically did just wasn't going to keep working. So I felt this pressure to be like, man, I really got to figure something out. And I don't want to just like monetize everything out of my son. Like, he's a kid. She didn't show any like signs he didn't want to do it, but I just didn't want him to do it. I was getting these signs. My gut was telling me like, just move away from it. I remember it was so hard. People were saying these comments. So I stopped doing those videos. I'm like, we're going to find a way. Like if it's like 8 p.m. after bedtime, I know we're exhausted. I'm going to like think of the script. I'll make it only 30 minutes of filming. Like we're going to get this done. We started trying to do that and that was okay. It was like pretty good, but it was still hard to find. And then I'm like, let me try again. Like this is going to be tough. I feel like my audience is telling me not to do this, but like, I'm going to figure this out because I see other people do it. So I can do this. And then I tried it again. I started to like have a better success rate. Instead of maybe hitting 1 out of every 4, I started hitting like 2 of 4, 3 of 4. And people stopped asking like, where's your son? All of a sudden there was like this new spark, this new like life for our social media where it was like, wait, I can do this, not need my wife, not need my son. But these stories are all so authentic and ring so true because this is the life I'm living. My son was deep in his terrible 2s at the time. And that was such an unlock, especially gearing up for our second child when like life got so busy. I've gained like at least 200 gray hairs since my second child arrived. I don't know what's going on. And that was huge. And because of that, being able to now like, my son is featured maybe in a story, little things like very, very, very less. And I can film on my own accord. I don't need to go on my wife's time. We've been able to hit some new highs in the business from a financial perspective, from a follower growth perspective. And this year, I'm like so incredibly grateful. And it just kind of makes me realize that like God really has such an interesting way of doing things because the business back in the day to where it is now, it's a completely different business. So much to the point that like our TikTok is Reza and Puja, our YouTube is Reza and Puja, but all the content is primarily just Reza. And like now Puja went from being like one of the main characters to now she's like a special character where now when she comes, they're like, oh, Puja's in the video. This is fun. It's an amazing place. I'm so happy with where it's at and what it's producing. My son is barely in the content because now lately, like I try to take a picture of him and videos, even just for our own memories. And he immediately just like looks at the camera and he's like, no, and he like doesn't like it. So I'm like, okay, yeah, like who am I to like take these videos and post it all over the internet for millions to watch and be entertained from? But then the funny thing is at the same time, when I show him the videos in the past that he's in, he loves them. He freaking thinks he's hilarious and he just only wants to watch his face on my phone. So it's interesting, but thank God it's bloomed in such a beautiful way.
Congratulations. It's amazing what you guys have built and where it's headed. And I totally agree with you. It's like you could never have mapped it out the way that it has turned out, which seems like it's just the best fit for you and your family. Can we go back to Puja for one moment? And, you know, I wish you were here for this part of the conversation, but maybe you can answer for her because she was the initial spark in this. And she was the initial person who said, I want to be an influencer. I want to be on social media. And now with the way your content has shifted towards just Reza, Puja naturally taking on more of the parenting and more of maybe the mental weight of the home.
Yeah.
And if you guys plan on having more kids, has a lot more work to do in that department, just biologically. How does she feel about this change? And was this something she sort of decided to do for the health of the family and the business, or out of her losing interest in being in the content?
Yeah, one, Puja really drives the ship in our home as far as like she's such an amazing like visionary for our family. Like she was the one that back when she had no followers, there was no validation of being a creator. She was like, I'm gonna be a creator. For like I remember 2 New Years straight. Her resolution was like, guys, I'm getting 10,000 followers this year and I'm getting the link button on my stories because back then it wasn't available to everybody. And we're like, you got it, girl. Like to know it, whatever. And she had no followers, no nothing. But like she always dreamed big. And she was also the one that dreamed big of like, like I would love to like move to California. Like let's live in like better weather, better quality of life, XYZ. And then we did that. We became creators. And she's like, I would love to all these things. She's always been such a huge dreamer. And because when she dreams, like our life changes in such a beautiful way because of her. And then it was interesting. So we became content creators, riding the high, like 2021 was like our first year building it all up. 2022, like we're making so much content, like life with my pregnant wife, all this kind of stuff. And she was doing all this kind of cool stuff. 2023, once she had Cher, she was like in postpartum. And it was like, from what I saw and when we talk about it, she doesn't describe it as like a really like bad postpartum, but like because we're making content together at the time, it took a whole year of us being like, okay, like let's get back into the business hard. And we just never could because she's like, I'm just like, ugh, it's hard. I'm not really into it. And once after that first year postpartum in 2024, she like got back in it. We were in it. Cher was like a year and a half. We were just like cranking and doing some really cool stuff. And then she got pregnant again in the middle of 2025, June. We were filming like a YouTube series show. And I remember like, I'm like, oh yeah, our videographer's coming. We're going to film the cons. Like, this is the plan. And she's just like, oh my gosh. Like, I kind of just wish you could just do it with Cher and I could just like not. And I'm like, I know, I promise I won't. It'll be pretty easy. I'll kind of just be driving the ship. You can just kind of like just be chilling. Or sometimes I would do these solo episodes where I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna do like a fun like vlog with Cher. We're gonna go out and about and stuff. So she was already having these inklings of like, oh my gosh, I wish. And that first episode, it was me and Cher, and I was just driving, and I was just riffing and kind of just being very relaxed and funny. She saw it and she literally looked at it and she's like, "You're so good." This is what she said. I'm not saying it for her. She said that. She's like, I feel like I'm holding you back. And I was like, huh. And it was like this interesting thing where at the time being on camera, it's so hard to be your authentic self. And when we would be together, I would kind of be this like on camera, like, I don't know, this more like calmer version when Puja's in the shot. But then when like she would be out of the shot, I'd become out of this more like expressive and kind of just be like really flowing. And she's like, I think you should like start making your own content and like you should start doing these episodes by yourself because you're crushing it. And maybe she was just saying that to like inflate me so she could just find her exit out because she was kind of just bored of it.
She's like,
and
I'm
tired.
trying to get out of here, so let me make up
Yeah,
this
she's like,
story.
you're so good. You're so good. Oh my God. It was also just like she really just started falling in love with like being like a mom and like going deep into motherhood. And she's kind of like, and she's always been this person, like she'll be so excited. She'll dream big. She'll start something epic. And then like, we'll all do it as a family, or I'll kind of take the baton and really execute it and solidify it. And then she'll just drop it. And she's like, okay, I'm bored. And that's kind of what I feel like it's kind of been, where now I took this whole baton and we saw an opportunity. I'm like, you actually could, if you wanted to, you could just kind of like peel off of content and just make content for fun and not like I have to post every day or every other day. Like if you want to post, you post, and I'll ride this out and you can just enjoy being mom, taking care of the kids, taking care of yourself, and creating more expressively for fun if you want to do that. And I feel like she has like her whole, she could have a whole podcast episode on like her whole, she doesn't like to call it this, but we call it this at one point, like an identity crisis of being the corporate girl turned creative entrepreneur girl turned mom turned hybrid something, where she's like, I want to be the mom and stay at home and be like that really like nurturing soul, but I also want to like win, and I also want to like be a boss and like make things happen. And she kind of goes back and forth. But right now in this season, she's taking a step back and she enjoys it. She enjoys not being part of like the pressure of the content. And now it's more so I'm like, all right, I need you for a video. All you got to do is say XYZ. And she's like, okay. And she just shows up, looks pretty, and she's like, blah, 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 says her little line. She's like, done? Cool, bye. And I'm happy. I'm happy for her because she has like that space to just kind of relax and kind of just choose what she wants to do versus you have to be in the content. Or like, no, you have to just, you can't be in the, she can kind of just do what she pleases. So I'm like, all right, okay, you want to be a stay-at-home mom and just do that? She's like, yeah. But she's like, but I need help. So we got a nanny. And then she's like, I miss my kid. Like, I want to be with him. I'm like, okay. And she's like, maybe we'll move back to Chicago and be with my family. I'm like, okay, like whatever you want to do, like I'll just do it. We're constantly, we're in a crazy evolutionary moment right now, to be honest.
I love it. And it sounds like you guys are keeping things dynamic and not making,
Very.
as you did in the past, not making irreversible decisions. So you can always continue iterating and changing to fit the changing needs of your family as it grows and changes. There are obviously so many directions that we could continue this conversation in. You know, I think many of my conversations with women are with the Puja of this relationship, where I'm talking to someone about motherhood and identity crises, going from being an entrepreneur to having kids. And then also there was a whole other avenue you talked about when you mimicked what your dad did with you crushing his heart, leaving the job. You know, sounds like your parents are very fun, cool parents who have their own YouTube channel, but also traditional Indian parents who had plans and goals for their kids. And there's, you know, a whole path we could have gone down there. But alas, we're out of time for the show. And this conversation was
gone on for 6 hours.
Amazing. I know people are going to love hearing from you. I know people are going to be inspired by your journey and immediately go binge watch all of your content. So I'm just going to let you tell everyone where to find you, pitch yourself.
Yeah. One, I just want to say thank you so much for this opportunity. I never do podcasts. And right now I'm thinking, I'm like, man, I must have been rambling about who knows what. So I really hope this was valuable for you guys.
It was. As a listener sitting here, it was valuable.
Okay. Maybe you're just saying that, but I appreciate that. But you can find me on Instagram. I'm the Reza Khan. And on YouTube and TikTok, Reza and Puja. I make a lot of fun, cinematic, funny, I think they're funny parenting videos. Yeah, I hope you resonate with them. I hope you resonate with this conversation. And I hope to see you guys more. And I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, it's my, once again, first podcast like ever. So I hope it was valuable.
You were great. You have a voice for podcasting. And also, I told you this at the Google event, and I'm going to say it again in a good way. You use the word resonate a lot. And because your name is Reza, I think you need to do something with that. Reza Nate. We need to have a conference, mastermind, content session. Like there's something
Resonate
here.
2025.
Resonate 2025.
Keynote speaker, Lucie Fink.
I'll see you at Resonate 2026.
Oh, epic.
The Resonator. So good. Thank you, Reza. This was amazing.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Real Stuff podcast. If you're liking the show, please head over to Apple or Spotify and leave us a written review. If you're watching on YouTube, drop a comment down below and join in the conversation. And if you're feeling called to be a guest on the show, visit luciefink.com/apply and tell us your story. Thank you so much, as always, for sharing your time and attention with us, and we will see you next time on the Real Stuff podcast.
Please note that this episode may contain paid endorsements and advertisements for products and services. Individuals on the show may have a direct or indirect financial interest in products or services referred to in this episode.